Hi, everyone. My name is Tina Jones, and I am starting this channel because I'm very passionate about some of the things that I'm seeing out there, some of the things I'm seeing internally with family and everything else. Nervous system regulation is a very important thing that is not taught. Um, I've never encountered a psychologist or psychiatrist, not to say that there isn't, but that talks about it. And nervous system regulation, emotional intelligence, these are both very big items in calming a lot of the behaviors that come with um, different triggers, different things that we've encountered in our lives and the way that we react and not necessarily respond. And I'm speaking on this because in 2021, I came across this information very accidentally. I was on my computer. I had kind of barricaded myself in a downstairs basement bedroom. I was staying with some people, and me and my child just needed a little space. So we climbed onto the bed, we opened the computer, and up pops these videos. I wasn't on YouTube, I wasn't on the internet. The two of us were so tired, we really didn't even question it. The first video that I saw, I related to. The second video, my daughter related to. And it was videos about identifying the different coping mechanisms with the traumas. Like, we all go through different things, we all see different things during the events, but we also all cope in different ways. So a lot of what I'm seeing in personal relationships is that my coping mechanism looks different than yours. And because of that, instead of sitting down and having a conversation without berating or getting offended, we end up communicating in a very volatile way. And it causes more problems in the long run. I've been through it. I entered into my now marriage after a pretty tumultuous relationship that caused some severe psychological trauma, physical brain injuries, concussions, blah, blah, blah. So it wasn't until about 10 years then that I realized we're both just taking our traumas out on each other, not even realizing it. A lot of this is unconscious behavior. So I wanted to bring it to light because it's not just internal, it's also, I'm seeing a lot of these different communication styles coming from coping mechanisms, coming from trauma, entering into the public forum. And like, nobody's wrong on either side of what I'm discussing. What I am trying to say is that if nobody ever gets to the point where we can have a conversation without name calling, listening, offering a differing opinion without also being berated and not listened to, then I don't think that internally, as our family relationships, our friend relationships go forward, we're going to have much success. And then, because you want to start with home, you want to start with, hey, how's my relationship to myself? Am I communicating with myself in a healthy way? And therefore, how does that look when I'm also conversating with people that I care about? Like, we might care about people, but they might not feel cared about. So this entire video is just an introduction to some of the topics that I'd like to start discussing on this channel. I'd like to help. I went from being very wound tight, very traumatized, expecting people to look past the behavior, to what I went through, expecting people to magically understand without communicating who I was, what I was, what I'd been through, where I'm going, where I am now. People aren't mind readers, and I think that, number one, that's a pretty big one that I see out there, is that we all expect people to understand where we're coming from when we're standing in their face and we're screaming at them, or or causing them harm by re-traumatizing them, by calling them names. And like this, we're not going to get anywhere. So if this is an interesting topic to you, I invite you to subscribe, like, comment, tell me a little bit about your story. I'll also be offering private sessions with people. I think for right now, first one's free. I am starting this channel because I do have other things I'd like to pay for, but that's not the main reason. I mean, I honestly feel so desperate to bring some light to the world. I've brought a lot of light to my family. We can now sit down and have discussions without it becoming knockdown blowout. And I'm talking, if you take a look at your relationships and all across the board, they're pretty tumultuous. It's time for us to start pointing the fingers back at us, figure out what our contribution to the conflict is, and working outward from there. Now, this is very simplistic, and it is a deep and complicated topic, but this is where we're going to start. So if this is something that you're interested in, feel free to like or comment or just reach out. I have no judgment. I have been there, done that. Whatever it is that people are going through, for the most part, there are things that I have not been through, but I will do my best to be a supportive listener if I do not have any constructive advice to offer. Because even in my personal life, there are people that have gone through things that I'm never going to truly understand because I have never truly been there. So I think that's also important to recognize that, you know, we haven't always been where other people have been. And so if we think about how we would handle it if we'd walked in their shoes, even though that sounds really cliche, I mean, gosh, we would all be kind of messes in some cases. And some people haven't been through a whole bunch of stuff. Some people have minor traumas, and a trauma is a trauma, period. The definition of trauma is stress that you're not able to process because you don't have time to process it because traumas keep coming in. Stress keeps coming in. It keeps piling on top of you. And I'm definitely in one of those places right now, but I'm handling it a lot more regulated than I used to. And so I'm super proud of myself. Now we're in 2026. We're 5 years later. And I just want to start sharing this information with the world. I'd like to label it life coach because honestly, just because I've studied all of this stuff and I can offer support and I can listen and I can really cut through some butter with a hot knife, that doesn't mean that I am qualified to give a clinical diagnosis of anything. This is really just emotional and nervous system regulation support. With that being said, try to have a positive day. If things are getting too stressful, walk outside, close your eyes, smell the air, look at the trees blow in the wind, do anything you can to just forget everything for 5 seconds. And all of those problems will still be back inside when you walk inside. But anyway, that's one of my coping mechanisms now. Have a great day. Smile. You're important.